Hi guys, Jordan from P&B Campers. I'm just going to do your handover video on your Swift Rio 2015 motorhome. So we start under the bonnet. We've got your washer fluid on the left hand side here, your brake fluid attached to the servo just there, engine coolant. This is your overflow or expansion tank for your radiator coolant, and you've got your power steering fluid underneath there. If you do need to get to any of these, a little bit easier, undo these little caps at the top here, and then this whole piece here just pulls out, and you can get to it all nice and easily. Engine oil goes in through this cap just here at the top of the engine, and your engine oil dipstick is this one just here with a red top. Obviously it's had its full service, so you shouldn't need to touch any of that anyway, but it is all there if you need it. You've got your chassis plate here. So you can see the original one here is weighted at 3,650, and this one here is just showing you there's been down plated slightly to 3.5, so you can drive it on any license. SV Tech being the proper company that you go through to do that. If you wanted to jump start the vehicle, your engine battery does sit under the floor in the cab, so you can get to it nice and easily. But if you were sort of, needed to jump start it from under the bonnet, you've got your positive terminal, which is this little prong just here, sits underneath this cap. So positive's there, and your negative point is this one just here. This is your earth, and you see there it just says only for jump start, in obviously 3 different languages. But this is the negative for the jump start, and this is your positive. So I'll close that back over. Other than that, there's not really a huge amount. I mean, your air filter sits down here. Fuel filter is this one up in the corner, and yeah, not a huge amount more, to be honest. Nice simple engine. Turbo and exhaust and all that sort of stuff sits at the back. Yeah, nice and easy. Your bonnet release on these chassis is just here inside the passenger door, so obviously that's a good thing for safety. It means you can't actually get to it without having the passenger door open, so that's there for security. Your diesel filling cap is this one just here. So you need your ignition key for that one, and that'll open up as soon as you unlock that. So if I just close this back up. I'll just show you around the outside first before we go on the inside. You've got your gas locker just here, so it's a nice big sized gas locker. You've got space in here for 2 of these 6 kilo propane bottles, or if you wanted to switch over to butane at some point for whatever reason, you will fit 2 7 kilo butanes. I wouldn't advise switching over to butane for any reason, because it's just not as good, to be honest. It's got a lower basically if it starts to get really cold, you won't be able to use butane because it won't come through the system properly. But if you use propane, the lower temperatures, it will work perfectly fine. So turning the bottle on anti-clockwise around to the left turns it on, and clockwise around to the right turns it off. You need to make sure that you switch that off before you start driving, and actually it's always good practice just to switch it off whenever you're finished with it anyway, purely for the fact that if you crashed, all of your gas appliances have still got a good feed of gas going to them. So if anything was to get knocked, or any gas sort of anything at all that works from the gas, if you've got this bottle on and it comes away, you're going to get pressurized gas coming through, and obviously you don't want that. So make sure that you turn this off before you start driving. Your fridge vents are these ones just here. So I've got the fridge lit up on gas at the moment. Your wastewater drain is just down here. And I would imagine, if I remember, your freshwater drain, I think it's on the other side. I will show you where that is anyway. Obviously you've got the rear opening door on this particular vehicle, and when you open that up you have access to your step underneath there, if you should need it. Boiler vent, so the boiler is just here inside, and so if you had the boiler lit up on gas, you'd be able to feel hot air coming out through the underneath of here. There's no cover or anything like that you need to worry about for there. If it starts raining and things like that, it's fine to get wet. Hookup point, obviously, I'm hooked up at the moment just to give the batteries a good bit of a charge, because it's been here for a little while. So got that hooked up, and obviously that's self-explanatory, to be fair. Your toilet cassette is this one just here. So all you need to know really is that you actually drain it out from here, And when you are draining it out, it's good practice to hold this little yellow button, orange tab at the back down when you're actually emptying it out, because it's a bit of a pressure release button, so that'll release any excess pressure and save you a world of hassle. You've got a freshwater flush system on this one, so you don't need to worry about any external flush system. If you've got a little bit of water in your freshwater tank, you'll be able to flush your toilet nice and easily. So I'll just look down here. Yeah, so your fresh drain is that one over there, if you can see it. It's got a little sign underneath on the body, so that's where that is. And your freshwater inlet is this one just here. So that's the cap. If you want to lock that up, which I'll just show you how to do, just pop the little clip down. Just grab the key out. So I'll just show you taking it off. When you put it back on, you need to push in and round to the right until it stops. And once you've done that, you can pop your key in, turn it 90 degrees and take it out, and then you won't be able to take that out. It's unusual to do it, but if you have an external pump that you need to suck water up through something with, then you can get 12-volt power for that from here. Got a little cover for it there. Nearly all of the other locks around the vehicle are exactly the same, so same idea as that. With the toilet, you've only got one. They never have them both. There's always just one. So just turn it 90 degrees and take the key out, and then you can't push that in, so that's locked up. And like I was saying, your freshwater drain, this one just here. In the cab, I'm not sure there's a huge amount to show you. You've got air conditioning, which works from that button just there in the middle of those two dials, and obviously all of your heating and cooling, all that sort of stuff is all working off these two just here. It's all pretty straightforward stuff, so I'm not going to run you through that because it's just like any car, to be honest. You've got the original, obviously the doubled-in sized Fiat stereo system. That's all there, all working. Heated rear window, which is the button there on the left-hand side. Obviously that won't do anything at all because the original heated rear window is gone because it's a motorhome now. And you can lock the cab from inside, which is always handy. Hazard lights just there in the middle, obviously. 6-speed manual gearbox. Reverse, you need to lift up on the back just here, over and up to the top left. But having the 6-speed gearbox is really, really nice if you're on the motorway and things like that. Really, really handy. Cruise control on this bottom stalk just here, and your indicators and lights work from this left-hand stalk. Washers and wipers are over here on the right. And you've just got sort of a couple of bits and pieces over here, so you can do a few bits and pieces on the screen in there with these buttons here, but mainly they're for your headlight aim, these two here, and your fog light is that one. You've also got electric adjusting mirrors, so that works from here. So you basically just choose which mirror you want to move, and then just use this like a little joystick, and then they should move to exactly where you need them. Lock and unlock the cab from this button just here as well, and obviously you've got your electric windows. So bear in mind when you jump out, the handbrake's on this right hand side, so try not to catch yourself on there. It does hurt if you do it, I promise. So if we carry on now to the inside, the van itself has been really, really well kept, and obviously we've done our habitation check on it. I will go back through it after the video just to double check that everything is working, because obviously it's been a little while since we actually did the habitation check, and things, you know, if you don't touch things for that long, they do start to go a little bit skew with. So I will go through and make sure everything's up together. Anyway, so you've got your control panel up here above the door. So it's all pretty straightforward and actually really nicely laid out, I think. So you've got a main power switch just here. I've obviously already got it on. So once you've turned that on, all of your lights will come on and it will show you that it's all working. Light at the top here, awning light. If this little light that this goes to is on, it means that your awning light is on. So that's on there, and if I press that again, make that light go off, the awning light has gone off, so you can actually see whether it's on or off from inside, whether or not that light is on. This light just here is telling us that the hookup is plugged in and working, so your battery charger is working as well. If I choose view levels, it comes up, all these lights come on. So on the left hand side here, Leisure battery voltage is right the way up at 14, and that's because the hookup's plugged in and the battery charger is working. Freshwater level, you've got 1/4 of a tank of fresh water, which is perfect, bearing in mind that your flush water comes through from your fresh tank. So that means that basically you can always flush your toilet wherever you are. Wastewater level, empty, because obviously we drain them out after we do a habitation check. And your vehicle battery level, up there, 13.5 volts, so that's absolutely fantastic voltage there for that. So both batteries are absolutely fine. Water pump, you got that switch there obviously, so once you've got that on, you'll be able to draw the water through any of your taps. So cold water is around to the right like that, and then hot water around to the left. Pump will kick in when the pressure needs to be topped up. Turn that off and the pump will turn itself off when it gets to pressure. So I'll just quickly run you through this before I carry on there. The first thing you want to do when you come into the van, if you want to use the boiler, is you need to turn that pump switch on and just come to this tap here and just pour your hot water. If the hot water doesn't come through, or the water doesn't come through on the hot water side, basically what it means is 9 times out of 10 it'll mean that you've not got any water in the tank. But sometimes if you don't get any water coming through and you do have water in the tank and the pump is running, it will mean that you've got your boiler drain open. And to get to that, if I just show you, you've got a little yellow tab just down there. So if you opened that up so that it was facing upright towards us now, all of the water from inside the boiler will just drain out. All right, so basically if you open that upright, all the water from the boiler will drain out, and that means that you can then, you know, well, that means the reason you would do that is if the temperature was going to get to sort of like 0 or around that number, you need to do that to drain the boiler out. If the boiler is full of its water and it freezes inside of it, it will just crack everything and everything will start going wrong. You'll get leaks all over the place, and you know, it's not a cheap job to replace these boilers. So make sure that you drain it out from that point down there if it's going to get freezing cold. But that's the way of checking that it is full. If the water comes through just like that and the pump starts up and it's coming through still like that, that means that your boiler is completely full of water, and then you can carry on and do the other things that I'll show you in a minute. So I hope that made sense. Pump on, make sure that your boiler's full of water by pulling the hot side. If it's not, check your drain over there and then try again. If the drain is open and you're going to fill the boiler up again for the first time since it's been drained out, it will take 2 or 3 minutes of the water not coming through. You know, you just basically just need to pull it up and hold it, just leave it on the hot side until it does come through, and that'll be when your boiler's full. So that's your water pump. Frost protect, you don't need to worry about that. That's if you've got an automatic dropout valve on your boiler, so I wouldn't worry about that. It might also have something to do with heated tanks, but again, like I said, I just wouldn't worry about that. It's not something you need to sort of worry about. Perhaps if it's going to get really, really freezing cold, just turn it on. I think some of these vans have got tank heaters, some of them don't. So you know, I'm not 100% on that, but it could well save you if it's going to get freezing cold and you don't want to use the van. Yeah. You've also got your cabin lights. So that switch there will basically just turn all the lights on and off like that. That's about it really. You can check the battery levels individually if you wanted to. And the other thing that I'll show you is if you've got a hookup plugged into the van. So for example, if your engine battery was completely flat and you had no way of charging it up or replacing it, you can switch. So if I just show you, I've clicked on leisure battery now, and this little light here at the back of the vehicle is lit up. So the light at the back of the vehicle there being lit up proves to you that everything in the back end, everything 12 volts, all of your lights, the pump, ignition, all of that sort of stuff is running off of the leisure battery. If I press vehicle battery now, you'll see that this will change from a green to an amber light, and it will go here. So if I press that, you see where it went to the front there. So now everything that's working 12 volt, lights, ignition, all the same stuff is now working from your engine battery down there. The reason they do that is that if you wanted to, basically you can charge up. I've got a hookup plugged into the van. The charger is still working, but now instead of charging up your leisure battery, it's now charging up your vehicle battery. So you'll see now when I press the button, it's actually up at 14 volts rather than where it was at 13.5. So you're getting charging on at the engine battery. So if you did need to charge the engine battery up, you can do that if you want to. You don't have to do that. I personally wouldn't advise you doing that really, because if you start using the engine battery for everything, then obviously your engine battery will die and you won't be able to start the van up. So unless you have a hookup plugged into the van and you want to charge the engine battery, I would leave it just there on the leisure battery side. All right. So that's the control panel. That's all, you know, it's all nice and straightforward because they kind of lay it out really easily and point at things and all that sort of stuff. So it's a really nice, simple control panel. You've then got this one here, which is your Truma. So this is your boiler controller, okay? So again, a bit to show you, but I'll show you. I'll go just sort of try and go through it as easily as I can. So whichever one here, you've got these 4 little bits here. Whichever one is flashing at the moment, the little caravan, I'll click that again. The caravan with the little the temperature dial inside it is flashing. So if I click on that, it's telling me that the heating is off at the moment. Sorry about I can't really hold the camera and do it at the same time. So the heating at the moment is off. If I turn this dial now, I can choose what temperature I want the inside of the van to be. So if I chose 20 or 30, because it's really hot outside at the moment, press go, and you'll see there a little flame symbol at the top there. So the heating inside the vehicle is now going to come on. If I then went to the next one, which is now this one, click on that, I choose what temperature I want the water inside the boiler to be. So I can change it to 60. So at the moment, the boiler is heating the van up, which is the little flame symbol, and I'm going to get 60 degrees of hot water. The next one, if I show you, the next one is how you want the boiler to do those things. So you've got gas only. So if I click go there, you get a little gas cylinder up there. I've also got mix 1, which is gas and electric, or mix 2, which is gas and a bit more electric, or I've got electric 1 or electric 2. So if I leave it on electric 2, whatever I've told the boiler to do, so I've got it on heating and hot water, it's now just going to do it via the electric element. The last one is the fan. You've got eco, high, or just eco and high. All right. So that's how fast the fan pumps the hot air around to these little circular vents around the vehicle. Okay. So again, I hope that makes sense, but you know, it does take a little bit of getting used to, but once you are used to it, it's fine. So if I just show you again, whichever one is flashing, which is the caravan, which is the heating, I'll click on that, and then I'll turn this all the way down to off. Next one, hot water, turn that down to off. Next one is you're telling it how to do it. I'll leave it on gas. And the last one is the fan. All right, you can then turn that off by pushing and holding on the middle button, and that'll just switch itself off. Right, the next bit is your cooker system. So it's an oven at the bottom, grill, and a 3-burner hob. So you've pretty much got, you know, every appliance in here is pretty much the top spec. So you've got a electric hot ring up here at the top as well, so you can use this one here for that if you do wish. Obviously that'll only work when your hookup's plugged in, so just bear that in mind. You've got an ignition for the oven, the grill, and the 3 burners at the top just here, so that'll do all of those at the same time. You've got a little diagram showing you exactly which one of these dials does what. So you've got bottom left burner, grill, oven, bottom right burner, top right burner. When you open this grill bit up, this little cover comes out with it, which is handy. Nice little design. But yeah, so I mean, I'm not going to show you how to do all that because it's all simple. You just literally push in and round to the left whilst pressing on the igniter. The only thing I will show you is you've got this little diagram in here, which is so important. do not close this glass lid down. One, especially not when it's actually lit. But also, if you close the lid down straight after turning one of these off, these top burners, or even the grill in the oven, if you put the lid straight down, it's so cold on the top and hot on the bottom that glass will just shatter. And I've seen it plenty of times before where they have done that. So, just try your best. If you're going to have any of these lit up, especially the hot plate as well, because sometimes it's very easy to forget that that's on. Leave that in the off position as much as you can. If you close the lid down, as soon as you turn one of these off, it will shatter the glass. So, not maybe, it definitely will. So just make sure that you leave these off for at least sort of 5 minutes or so before you start trying to put the lid down. I'm not trying to scare you with that, I'm just saying I have seen it plenty of times, so just try not to do that. Up here above that, you've got a couple of things. So you've got your TV aerial just here, and your TV aerial booster, which is that one just there, nice and tidily put up in there. So basically you've got a tilt and turn aerial, and you just loosen this bit up at the top, and then you can push that up and move it wherever you want to. It's always good practice if you aren't exactly sure where to put it and you're on a campsite. You can normally just copy everybody else's as best you can, but there should probably be some paperwork for it in here, and you can sort of learn how to do it from that. I'm no expert on it personally, so I wouldn't really know how exactly to explain it to you, but if you try and copy everybody else's, you normally end up on the right place. Paperwork is all inside there as well in the brown box. We always try and leave it all in the brown box, so it's nice and easy for you to sort of read through. Microwave, obviously, again, that's something that will only work when your hookup's plugged in. So you see there the numbers are lit up at the moment, just showing you that it's working because I've got the hookup plugged in. Bit of storage up here. This little fuse inside here, don't try your best not to knock that, because that is probably, it's a resettable fuse, so it's probably for the bed, I would imagine. I'll just run you through the fridge as well. I'm just going to try and run you through the appliances first before anything else. So the fridge is a 3-way fridge. Really nice and simple the way that this one works. So you've got 3 little, don't worry about this A, just ignore that for now. You've got 3 little diagrams. So you've got a hookup diagram, a gas diagram, and a 12-volt diagram as well. So all you have to do, I'll just turn it off for now so I can show you it from the start. All you actually have to do, when you turn this on, it will automatically choose a, some kind of, it will choose one of the ways of using it. Right, so if I just show you, turn that on, it's chosen gas straight away. So literally that'll just light up. If you wanted to use the electric hookup, just literally press the electric hookup button twice, and now it's changed over and the electric element is now cooling the fridge down. If you wanted to use the 12-volt element, so that's when your engine's running, again, just literally just change it over to 12-volt. Flashing at you now saying there's something wrong because the engine isn't running. All right, switch it back over to gas and that'll just light up. Obviously the gas needs to be switched on before that will work, but otherwise, yeah, it's nice and simple. Don't expect the fridge to get cold after sort of half an hour or so as well. It's the same for all fridges on these motorhomes. They do take a good few hours to actually get cold. So if you want to fill your stuff up before you go away, I would advise you to get the fridge cold first, put your stuff in it, and then go away perhaps the next morning. So if you've got access to a hookup cable, it's ideal. You can literally just choose the hookup selector, and then in the morning, everything inside the fridge will be cold, if that makes sense. Down here, you've got a couple of gas isolators. So you've got a little diagram telling you exactly which one does which via the colours. You just literally need to turn them 90 degrees and that'll isolate the gas from any of those appliances that are listed. Big standalone table inside here. Obviously just to go in front of that or in front of your seats down there, it's up to you. All the carpets are in here. We just tend to hoover them off and just tie them up and put them in there so that you can see that all the floor is good, and you can lay them back down again if you wanted to. The best place for a TV in this particular vehicle is up here, as you can probably tell. Reason for that is Swift have put all of the sort of TV bits and pieces over here, so they've thought about it so sort of well that you can have either a 12-volt TV that plugs in here, your aerial points are already here ready to go, and if you've got a 240-volt TV you can just plug it in up there. A lot of the TVs actually have both, so if you have a hookup plugged into the van, obviously that's a bit better. You can just run it straight through that, and if you don't have a hookup plugged in, you can just literally just plug it into there via the 12-volt. Right, so the bed comes down, push and hold both bottom buttons there, comes down nice and easily, and obviously you've got your skylight up above there, so if you wanted to, if you were using the bed, you can get to that nice and easily. It opens up, literally just push that button in there and then pull the handle out towards you, pushing it all the way back in again, closes it up, and then you can press up. Obviously it does take quite a bit longer to go up than it does down, because of the fact that when it's going down it's just basically releasing, because gravity helps it, but going up it has to sort of go against that, so it does take quite a lot longer, but it's all pretty solid. And I think we had to replace this little bit here, so that's all new, but yeah, other than that, it's you've got a couple of 240-volt sockets just here. Light switches are all here, so if you want to, you can go through and choose which lights you do and you don't like. All of the windows in this particular vehicle are all exactly the same design, got the same style stays on them, so if I just show you, to lift it up, hear the little click, and then it'll stop at the next one, same again. And if you wanted to bring that back down again, up a little bit further and back down. So one thing I'm going to point out to you with these stays, they're really reliable and nice and strong, so that's why they use them. But the only downside to them is sometimes it's a bit hard to imagine, but if you're basically parked, if I've opened this, so if I just close this down, right? If I open this window up and there was a wall just here next to us, and it got to this first click and it was pretty much touching the wall or whatever it is, if it's touching something else, you won't be able to get that little bit extra, because if I just try and put it in now, it doesn't do anything. You cannot pull that in because these are locked in position. In order for you to actually close it back in, you have to push it open extra a little bit more, and then it comes in. Does that make sense? You can't put it in straight away like that. You have to go a bit more, and then it comes in. So if you're parked right up against something and you can't push it out that little bit more, you won't be able to get the window to come back in. So just bear that in mind. It's not the end of the world. If that does happen, don't panic, because you just take these screws out at the top, and then these hinges just come straight off. But if you don't have access to a screwdriver or something like that, it can be a bit of a nuisance if you can't get the window back in, obviously. But they all open up as they should. And you've also got your blinds and fly screens, which are all there as you would expect, like that. Also, another thing to point out is that these side windows, you've got the integrated blinds and fly screens, which is really nice. The frames sit behind this nice carpeted bit, which is really nice. Same with this as well, this kitchen one. You see the frame is all behind this nicely sort of cut out glass piece, which also has the light in it as well, so it's all really nice looking. Close the glass down for the cooker, and I'll turn the fridge off. So I think I've pretty much shown you all I can on this van. Actually, no, I haven't. I haven't even shown you in the bathroom yet. I'm always doing that. God. Right, so in the bathroom it's all nice and simple. Your light switch is up here for that, and you've got these 3 bulbs up there. Nice and simple in the bathroom. You've got your shower, which is also your sink, if that makes sense. So if you want to use the shower, pull this all the way out and hook it on up here. All right, and then that's your shower. You've got a little button that you have to press to actually get the water to come out. If you don't want to use the shower, pop that back away. Bit awkward with one hand, 1 second. Pop that back away, and then you can literally just use it as you sink. So pull whatever side you want to pour the water through, and obviously, like I said, you need to push this button down like that, and then just don't forget to turn that back off again when you're finished. So that's the tap, nice and easy. Obviously everything's waterproof inside here, and you've got your water drain down there for the shower. Toilet, I'll just show you the flush for the toilet. So actually, to empty it out into the cassette, you just open it up to the left, or the right, sorry, and close it back over like that. And if you want to use your flush, you just push this button here, hear the water going around, and I'll show you as well. Water in there, drain it out into the cassette, and then close it back over. So it's really important to close that flap back over, because one, you get bad smells coming into the van, but also if you don't close that flap over and you go to take the cassette out from outside, it won't budge. It just locks it in place. If you've got it open, it locks the cassette in place. So make sure that you do close that back over. I'll turn the light off in here. Right, so now I think I have shown you everything there is in the van. You can get to the top of the freshwater tank from just there if you did need to, but usually you won't need to do that, to be honest. It's only if you want to clean it out and things. But yeah, so I think I've shown you everything I can. If there's anything you think I've missed out or anything you want covering again, please just let us know. But otherwise, we look forward to seeing you soon to collect your van. Thanks very much.